What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aiden, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about an episode of Chicago Bulls Weekly, when we talk about the previous week for the Chicago Bulls that we faced, as well as talk about the upcoming week for the Chicago Bulls as we continue to fight for that play-in spot. Now, altogether, not a bad week for the Bulls, but at the end of the day, it could have been better, of course, and we'll just discuss whether or not this is a week that will impact the Chicago Bulls season overall. And of course, again, looking forward to what we have to come, which is a difficult week for us. Before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls and whether or not you believe with this week and what we have coming up, we can still make the play-in tournament. I believe we sit 10th in the Eastern Conference as we speak, so that is a play-in spot for us. But without further ado, the previous week for the Chicago Bulls, we ended up having 3 games played. We went 2-1 this week. Again, I'll take a positive week any day of the week, in all honesty. I just think that we just need to keep on winning more than we lose. I don't think we have time to lose. And those games that are seen as winnable for us, if we continue to lose them, it's just more and more and more wasted opportunities building up upon each other. And it's just not a good environment to be in. So there's one game that I would say, the game that we lost, I considered winnable, and I guess we'll get started into that. The first game we had was against the Indiana Pacers, and we lost this game 122 to 125. The Halliburton heartbreaker, the offensive rebounds that piled on and the shots that piled on. I think this is the game the Bulls shot 60% from the field and they lost the game because they gave Indiana too many shots. And at the end of the day, they dealt it with a heartbreaker. Indiana now have the tiebreaker over us, so that means if we finish on the same record, which I think we might be on the same record right now, I'm not too sure, we're very, very close to each other as we speak, they would get the record over us. They would get the advantage. So let's just say we finish on the same record, the Bulls and the Pacers. The Pacers, obviously, with their tiebreaker, if they were 11th, they would climb to 10th. And we would fall to 11th. That's the tiebreaker. And unfortunately, look, that's just how the cookie crumbles. You got to win these games. You got to get those tiebreakers. You got to be able to put yourselves in the best positions. And the Bulls didn't do that. This was a must-win game for the Chicago Bulls. And they simply did not win the game. And therefore, you have to suffer the consequences if those consequences present themselves. Let's hope it doesn't. Let's hope we just have the better record and we advance in the Eastern Conference. Moving into the next game, we versed the best team in the Western Conference in the Denver Nuggets. And we won this game 117 to 96. Again, crazy how we versed a team in 10th place in the Eastern Conference. They versed the best team in the Western Conference, and we win pretty convincingly. But as a matchup nightmare as Denver is, and I truly believe they are, I just think they came into this game and they approached it wrong. They went too much into their three-point perimeter game, and they didn't really dominate the paint as what you'll usually see from them. And the Bulls, you could question everything about their height. The one thing that they are good at is steals, deflections, and perimeter defense, especially with Patrick Beverley in the team. It's been revolutionary, our perimeter defense with him in the team. So I just think at the end of the day, they approached the game wrong, and we used our turnovers, used our, I guess, ability to steal the ball, and we took advantage in transition, and that's how we beat the Denver Nuggets in pretty convincing fashion, I would say, as well. Again, when you have your starting center, Nikola Vucevic, outrunning their center, with everybody else in that team as well, I think it's just clear as day what went wrong with Denver, why they had a bad game, and why we took advantage of it, and therefore had an excellent game, had a fantastic game. So again, not too much else to say. We beat the best team in the West. It is what it is. This is what we're known for at the end of the day. Surprising opponents and beating opponents, and then losing to opponents you expected to beat. I still think it's a myth that we only beat good teams, but it is what it is. Today, or in the last game against Denver, we beat a good team. So there you go. The next game was against the Houston Rockets, and we won this game 119 to 111. This game was a game where the starters really carried the reins for the Chicago Bulls, while our bench continued to disappoint. We were down most of this game. We came back in the fourth quarter. Houston crumbled in the fourth. We took advantage. We stormed back in the fourth. We surged and we delivered a good win for the Chicago Bulls. Take any win as it comes. But there's no question that we could see better, especially from the bench. I thought our bench was disastrous. And they're young. They still have room to improve, a lot of them. And look, we just have to see better. There's no other way to put it. We need to see better from that bench. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say in that retrospect. And now we turn into the awards. We usually give out 4 awards, ladies and gentlemen. The Must Improve of the Week, the Defensive Player of the Week, the Sixth Man of the Week, and the Player of the Week. So, again, a lot more to look forward to here. Let's start with the Must Improve. I had this in mind 2 games in, but the player that I am going to pick still had a great game against the Houston Rockets. I'm going to pick Andre Drummond. I just feel like Andre Drummond has not been the best version of himself recently. And yes, obviously, recency bias may play a factor for some people saying that he's not the must improve. But again, look at the 2 games before that. Look at the last couple of weeks. There's been some games where he's extremely disappointed as the backup center for the Chicago Bulls. Now, he sets a high standard for himself, I'll be honest, because the guy can drop 6 and 10, or even just a normal 8 and 8 night, without even trying sometimes, it feels like. He's a great backup center to have, and I still believe he is the right option to go with, because I just don't value small ball with Derrick Jones Jr. as the backup center. I truly don't. I apologize if people do, but I just don't. I don't think it actually helps us or benefits us in many ways. Andre Drummond is still the right option to go with, but without a shadow of a doubt, he has to be a lot better consistency-wise than where he was last week for the Chicago Bulls. Great game against Houston. Let's see what happens against Sacramento. That's where I think our heads will turn to now. We'll see if we can get the upper hand in Sacramento, if we can play a great game, and if Andre Drummond can deliver as the backup center for the Chicago Bulls. But I think he is my must-improve this week. Moving into the Defensive Player of the Week, again, it usually falls into 2 people because, again, these 2 people's stats are normally incredible on the defensive end. Alex Caruso and Patrick Beverley. The one thing that I need to start taking into account for the Defensive Player of the Week award is something that I feel I neglect a lot. It's rebounding. I don't usually ever consider rebounding for the Defensive Player of the Week award, but knowing that's our struggles right now, you have to consider rebounding as part of defense. Defensive rebounds, it's in the name. But yeah, usually I don't consider that, but the person I would give it to between the 2 would probably be Patrick Beverley. Again, I don't think there's that much to split the 2. He had a great block in this game. Alex Caruso has always been a very good player to get for steals, always in your face, always very much a nuisance on the defensive end. And Patrick Beverley is very the same, brings toughness, brings that energy defensively, brings obviously his passion as well. And he brings more rebounding. I think 2 out of the 2 games since the post-All-Star break, he's had 10 rebounds for the Bulls. So, yeah, I would lean towards Patrick Beverley, but it's definitely fine margins. I also want to give a shout-out to everybody on this team for playing somewhat strong defense in this week. Of course, Indiana, the exception, 125 points. But Denver, amazing defense, and I think against Houston we weren't bad defensively either. So I think a lot of this team can deserve credit for their defensive displays this week. Moving into the Sixth Man of the Week, and I'm having a difficult time with this one, but I'm going to pick Patrick Williams. Again, I don't necessarily have all the stats to show what Patrick Williams did in this week, or I guess looking at every single stat for him, like what he did against the Pacers compared to the Nuggets, and he had a bad game against the Houston Rockets, but I believe he also had 3 blocks, so not completely terrible. But with Patrick Williams, I'm looking at that Denver game, 8 from 9 from the field, unbelievably strong offensively and defensively, super aggressive. That's the version of Patrick Williams we all want to see. Now, I don't expect him to only play every single game and only miss a shot. Not what I'm expecting at all. But the aggressiveness and the intent is exactly what I want to see from Patrick Williams, and he showed it against Denver, and we need to see it more often for him. So that's the next step for Patrick Williams. It always has been the next step for Patrick Williams. We see the skill set, we see the talent, we see the potential, but it's about putting it together. And so far, it's been sporadic moments at best that we have seen it put together. So we'll wait and see what ends up happening in the future, but I think he is the Sixth Man of the Week for the Chicago Bulls. And the Player of the Week is probably the easiest one to give, Zach LaVine, again. Look, you can't deny when someone's having a great run of form and is just in the best, probably, moment and form of his entire career. And in terms of consistency-wise, that's exactly what Zach LaVine has been this week, last week, since the post-All-Star break. He's been on an incredible run of form, been an incredible, he's been at an incredible moment in his career right now. But sustainability, keeping it up every single game. When we need Zach LaVine to drop 40, he's there to drop 40. When Zach LaVine doesn't need to drop 40 and everybody else is carrying the load, he's still finding ways to impact the game. It's very, very important that Zach LaVine does these things, but he does need help as well. He can't drop 40 every single game. It's just not efficient. It is not sustainable to see Zach LaVine do that. So other guys, like our bench today, needs to step it up. They have to deliver more than what we did against Houston. If we bring that same play against Sacramento, we lose. If we bring that same play against Minnesota, we lose. There's no other way to describe it. We got to see more, and Zach LaVine will need more help than just the big three. The big three can't win you basketball games alone, or Patrick Beverley alongside of the big three can't win you basketball games alone. The bench has to be better as well, and hopefully that's exactly what we see. Now, of course, with all the awards given, we turn into the upcoming week, and I believe we also have 3 games to look forward to in the upcoming week. We've got a long way away from our next game. It's going to be the Bulls and the Kings at home. Again, the Kings are the 3rd best team in the Western Conference as we speak. Their offense has been truly undeniable at this point, and they've proven a lot of their doubters wrong this season. Sacramento has been incredible. Last time we versed Sacramento, we lost. That big laser beam, whatever it is, at their stadium was shining bright as ever. And the Bulls, I believe, had the lead most of this game, or was fairly competitive most of this game, but let it slip away, and Sacramento never looked back, and they picked up a big win against the Bulls. I'm hoping that, look, we've had some confidence. You know, we beat Denver. Hopefully that confidence can lead into this game against Sacramento, and we could beat another great team in the West. Thankfully, this game is in Chicago. So again, that could be a home court advantage for us. And let's see what we can do. And hopefully we can pick up a big win against the Sacramento Kings. But as per usual, very much easier said than done. They've been incredible this year. You expect them to be incredible against the Bulls as well. Then after that, we've got a back-to-back scenario with the first one coming against Minnesota. We all remember the Minnesota game. No Rudy Gobert. No Karl-Anthony Towns. I can't even remember. They didn't have D'Lo, did they either? And they dropped 150 points against us. And for a lot of people, they thought that was the turning point for the Bulls. Personally, look, we're still inconsistent. We're still fairly bad as a team. So for me, that's not a turning point. But in terms of maybe looking and prioritizing defense more from a player's perspective and a fan's perspective, that might have been a turning point, I guess, in a different way. But look, that's a game. I think that's a must-win game for the Bulls. Again, you got to show some sort of pride. When you get demolished the way that we got demolished against Minnesota, we let them drop 150 points on us. I'm sorry. And without their best players as well, you have to win that game. That's personal pride more than anything to win that game against Minnesota. Minnesota, I believe, look, I think they have made changes, of course. They're not the same team since we last versed them. But their team on paper should be a team competing for the Western Conference. They should be. And I don't want to take them lightly. I don't know where they are in the Western Conference standings. I apologize to the Minnesota fans. But yeah, I don't want to take them lightly, and I'm not going to take them lightly. And then the next game after that is against the Miami Heat. I believe we've beaten the Miami Heat twice this season, so there should be some confidence there. We took advantage of their small ball. I remember that very fondly. Vucevic was attacking the paint a lot. We were attacking the paint in general a lot. Miami couldn't really get their offense going against us for the most part. And I think we picked up 2 wins against them, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. I definitely remember the first game we played. I believe it was one of the first games of the season. We beat them there. Yeah, I also think we have the tiebreaker against them if we won too. So that's still a big game for the Bulls because they're still in competition probably with the Heat. They're a little bit further ahead of us, but again, if we win some of these games, we could catch them up. So that's still a big game for the Bulls, and I expect them to win. But again, look at some of the games we have after that. This schedule, the so-called second easiest schedule in the NBA. It's hard, man. Look at the games after. We've got Philly twice, Portland, to be fair, up and down. Lakers without LeBron, to be fair, but still playing very well. The Clippers, you got the Lakers again. You got the Grizzlies, the Bucks. Look, there are tough games. Mavericks. There are so many tough games. Don't take our schedule lightly. We could lose and win any of these games from now to the end of the season. We can. We're just that team. We can beat anybody. We can lose to anybody. That's where we are right now. So don't take this lightly. We could be in danger this week. We could be in danger in the upcoming weeks as well. So keep your eyes and ears open out for all of that and see what the Bulls can do. I'm going to end this video here. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. If you watch every week, I will see you next week. If you watch every day, or if you watch more than that, or even if you watch less than that, I'll see you when I see you, I guess. And before I go, I will be picking a 2-1 Chicago Bulls record this week. I always forget. I forget so many times to predict what I think the Bulls are going to go with. I apologize for that. Look, it's just it's been a frustrating season. I think you guys can understand it. So if that's the thing I forget, I think you should be proud, to be honest, because I'm very much more forgetful than that. But anyway, have a wonderful and safe day. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.